Hello, everyone. It is Tuesday, the 12th of March, 2024, and trying to get out videos in the mornings and in the afternoons, Eastern Standard Time, just to reach more viewers, especially because it's a live stream, so why not? And I'm focused on this very much nowadays because in Canada, we are still getting very much censored and in fact getting painted more as criminals, anyone that's speaking out on the truth. And so very interesting times to be alive. And so I did take the dogs out. I did clean floors and did some chores and put a roast on a couple of hours ago, actually, and a few other things out of the way. I still have to go to the gym. I'm going to attempt to go to the gym later, and then some follow up with some work stuff. And like I was saying, I might have a meeting with someone from a semi-reputable news source. There's a few people that are really, really good journalists within, but there are a few that are not. And so I want to meet up with someone to spend probably a few friggin' hours and bring a USB or a hard drive and just go through a lot of stuff that even your news station has been getting wrong on some certain things, not everything. So this afternoon's video is talking about the Trudeaus, because after was it yesterday or the day before? Deathbed confession. Moon landing, deathbed confession. Anyways, a bunch of names were brought up. I've already shared this, so I'm just going to briefly go through a bit of it. I'll let him start.
Hello, my name is Gene Gilmore. My birth given name is Eugene Reuben Akers. I don't want any money for what I'm doing because hopefully this video won't come out until after my death. So I have nothing to gain, nothing to profit by telling you what I'm going to tell you. And a lot of what I'm going to tell you is available online until they see this video. And I'm sure things will start getting scrubbed.
Yep.
As well as moon photos. But anyway, my father in 1968 was stationed at Cannon Air Force Base.
Cannon Air Force Base. Cyrus Eugene Akers was his father. Research this stuff.
In New Mexico. I made notes on my computer.
New Mexico.
1968. So that I wouldn't forget anything, because there's a lot of little things and stuff that I'd forget. So these notes were made a long time ago. The original recording that my father made on his deathbed was destroyed in a fire. So this is my deathbed confession, because now I'm dying of cancer. I've got cancer all over the place, and they don't know where it's coming from, and I don't know if they can stop it, but it don't look good. So I'm going to go ahead and make this video for Bart Seibel. He knows not to do anything with it until notification of my death, for which my son will respond to that. Okay. Like I said, in 1968, my father was stationed at Cannon Air Force Base in New Mexico. We lived in Clovis, New Mexico. He was in the military police for over 20 years. And on his deathbed in 2002, we made a recording of what happened. Now, I already told you what happened to the recording. But it doesn't matter, because all the facts are there. So it doesn't matter who's telling the story or whatever. I will, at the end of the video, I'll supply a picture of my father, his badge, the flag of when they buried him. I'll show you some photos of my dad. Was powdered over the top of all that to make it look like a lunar landscape. They had men that fashioned it into a lunar landscape, he said. Okay, I've never known my dad to lie, so this all took me by surprise. You know, what's that all about? So anyway.
I've got an unfamiliar number calling me. It is 613. I don't know.
He said that in front of the airplane hangars was pole framing with large canvas tents that was concealing the inside of the staging area. Inside the staging area, on flatbed trucks, was uncrated the lunar lander that was reassembled back inside the hangars. All of the walls were painted flat black, and the ceilings as well. He was sworn to secrecy by the NSA, and they would put him in prison for breaking that oath. And when Dad saw the moon landing on TV, he cried. He said he knew that what he had witnessed on TV was exactly what they recorded in that hangar. There was no reason for them to go flying around and everything. They had detailed high-definition photos of the landing area. There was no reason for them to go flying around to a different landing area that almost exhausted their fuel, except for drama, because everything had gone so smoothly. Nothing, so it had to be something. Anyway, Dad was one of 3 guards. They guarded the inside of the front entrance. There was a list of 15 people who could enter. No one else was allowed by order of President Johnson. And here is that list. And I gave it to Bart Seibrow as well. And he checked out a lot of these names, and he says he can verify a lot of these people and what they do. And I come across a couple myself. Anyway, President Johnson, Neil Armstrong.
President Johnson, Neil Armstrong.
Edwin Aldrin.
Edwin Aldrin.
Werner von Braun.
Werner von Braun. We all know about him. About being a friggin' Nazi fucking psyops scientist, whatever you want to call it, that literally assisted with the faking of the moon landing, obviously.
Robert Emenegger.
Robert Emenegger.
Gene Kranz.
Gene Kranz. I'm going to just repeat it.
James Webb.
James Webb.
Joe Kerwin.
Joe Kerwin.
Dr. Thomas Paine.
Thomas
Glenn
Paine.
Looney.
Glenn Looney.
Dr. Christopher Kraft.
Christopher Kraft.
Dr. James Van Allen.
Van Allen.
General Trudeau.
General Trudeau. So that name, obviously, for me, when I was listening to this, it set off some bells. And I'm wondering if there is a connection. I haven't found it yet. Like, I haven't been looking for very long, but I'd love to see if there's a connection with General Arthur Trudeau and Pierre Elliott Trudeau and his son, and Pierre Elliott Trudeau's son, Justin Trudeau.
Lieutenant Colonel Donald Simon.
Donald Simon.
And Grant Norrie.
Grant Norrie.
Now, the only 2 that I really have information on is Robert Emenegger.
The one question I have too is, why did he not mention Stanley Kubrick?
Apparently, he did a lot of video work and stuff for the Department of Defense. So the DoD did know him. Okay. And the other one was Grant Norrie, Norray, I believe.
And yes, the James Webb Telescope and stuff like that obviously is, named after that James Webb.
Was to the best of my dad's knowledge, was a like some FBI, CIA, NSA, something like that. Okay. President Johnson only showed up for the first day of filming. Filming lasted for 3 days, and the entire project was restored to original. In other words, the hangars were all taken apart, the sand was all removed, and so on and so forth. Okay. Dad said there was a lot of building going on at the base.
So I already shared this, so watch this. I highly recommend it. And so now I'm just going to give a little bit of information. Again, this is just from Wikipedia. So there's a lot you can't trust with Wikipedia for so many different reasons. But anyways, Arthur Trudeau, Arthur Gilbert or Gilbert Trudeau lived a long life until 1991, was a lieutenant general in the United States Army. He is best known for the command of the 7th Infantry Division during the Battle of Pork Chop Hill in the Korean War. Interesting name. Trudeau was born in Middleburg, Vermont on July 5th, 1902. A lot of things happened in 1902 if you ask archaics. Anyways, a lot of things happened in 1900, in 1901, in 1903 as well. So anyway, West Point Military Academy. I also did an exchange for a semester at West Point Military Academy. I've talked about that. It was in 2006. After I did phase 3 infantry training, the only female, 77% failure rate. And yeah. Promoted to Brigadier General. Look at all the awards and decorations. United Nations medal to start. Like, come on, even with that. Knight Commander of the Order of the Sword. Distinguished Service Medal. Anyway. So he was also involved. Oh, wait. This is what I want to show you. So I found a report from the CIA. Of course I did. It's unclassified now, though. Yeah, again, I've just started looking at this like just today, so like I still got like quite a bit more to go, probably months, and it would be nice to get some help. But anyway, so this is Lieutenant General Arthur Trudeau, Chief of Research and Development Department of the Army. Dear Art, congratulations on your appointment as Chief of the Army Research and Development Program. In this critical time, I am sure you are looking forward to the challenges that your new assignment promises. With kindest regards, sincerely, AWD. Lieutenant General Arthur Trudeau, Chief of Research and Development. So this is 18 January 1958. So over a decade before this guy got into the lying to us with the CIA. So here in the CIA, we have a modest R&D program. I'm assuming that means resource and development, devoted largely to hardware, which might be of use in connection with the gathering of intelligence. So, and they're even saying like, give me a call so we could get you over here for lunch, and at which time give you an oral presentation on what we are doing. So again, like this is all stuff like they want to tell you in person. They need to lie. And then here's an article that if you go through, you'll see here that he is mentioned here. This is Arthur Trudeau, Capitol Circus by Jerry Green, Washington, January 16. It talks about like he had a lot of experience working in and around like NASA, the space agencies, like aeronautical stuff. And so groomed into the position. And what did he do that got him to be able to cover it up his entire life? What did he do to sell out his family, his friends, me, you, and everyone else alive and who died, you know what I mean? Like when he was alive and stuff like that, like so many lies. But anyways, I thought that was interesting. And then I'm looking at the Harry S. Truman archives. I was trying to look for photos, but like I couldn't really get anything. I do have a picture of him with Secretary of the Army Frank Pace. Anyway, why is this important? Because Canada also had a really big involvement with the moon landing. Obviously, we didn't have anyone landing on the moon at that time or anything like that, or assist, but we had the landing gear or the legs of the spacecraft was Canadian made, right? So like the Canadian involvement. And then all the astronauts, the astronauts going to Ottawa Parliament to meet with Pierre Elliott Trudeau, Justin Trudeau's father, who was also the prime minister at the time. Like he was in the 1960s and 70s, and then he was also in the 80s, and he fucked over the country so hard. So I'm just like showing you just to show. And this might not even be Justin Trudeau's father. It might be Fidel Castro. That's also a rumor that's alleged. Again, I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't give birth to Justin, nor was I in the presence of his mother. So like I don't know. There's just a lot of strong allegations regarding it. And his mother absolutely had a train ran on her by multiple celebrities and elected officials and government people and countless others. And even now, like Paul Rand Paul. I think it might be Rand Paul. Anyway, I don't know. He's American. Give me a break for what I know about American politics. I know a lot more than a lot of Americans sometimes. But yeah, like she had a lot of sex with a lot of people. And there's like a portion of the federal budget in the U.S. like right now that's allocated towards sex parties and orgies. Like I'm not even kidding you. Like, and it's Rand Paul. I think what his name is. But anyway, he's the one that friggin' figured it out. And just sharing. It's like, what the fuck are these people doing? Like, oh my God, like why you are ruining our lives intentionally. And that's treason, but I'll get into that. But he was in office 1968. So April 20th, interesting day. April 20th, 1968 until June 4th, 1979. So literally put in that position, the 15th Prime Minister of Canada, during the time when all of these friggin' lies were starting to be talked about, discussed, the space race, all that stuff, and then boom, lied to. And look at this fucking asshole. Like, does that look like this is the guy that has been lying to us now for decades? He's dead now. Lying to us for decades, and now his son is. And it's like, there should be now like 4 generations of Trudeaus down the line that should never hold any position of office or in government anywhere in Canada or the US or the world, actually, because this is international deceit, right? Like this is like people all over the fucking world should be pissed off at this and peacefully arrest, jail, investigate, charges, fire, and then shame the family name for 4 generations. Anyway, so like, yeah, so during all of that, so yeah, I just wanted to share a video. Oh, you can't even see this, sorry. This whole freaking time I'm showing you Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau, and you couldn't even see it. My bad. So here. Like, that guy has lied to the world and his family, and now Justin Trudeau, his son, is now doing the same thing. And I'm so annoyed by that because lui, là, il vient de Québec, il parle français, puis tout. Et je viens de Quebec. I'm from Quebec. This guy's from fucking Quebec and like literally involved in lying to the world. And so is his son now. And that's another reason why like I never voted for Trudeau, not even in fucking 2015 or whatever, when everyone loved him. I was like, fuck no. Are you kidding me? Do you know anything about anything that's going on? Like with all this stuff, like the allegations of like Picton Farms or fucking child porn rings and pedophilia and human trafficking and drug rings and like the false flag stuff that like their family have fucking lied about now for years and so much more. But like, he was fully involved and in power during the time that the moon landings were faked. It's a fact. And so is General Trudeau, who's allegedly American. But, you know, let's look at the lineage, because there's a lot of people within families that where there's connections between Canada and the US. It's very common. In fact, is this the one? Sorry, I'm looking for a video that there we go. Okay, so this is from Right Edition. Destroying the West, charitable donations. And the Pierre Elliott Trudeau Foundation and the We Foundations. Again, these are all Trudeau fucking deceitful organizations with money laundering and stealing and taking that money and getting more wealth, more assets, and fucking us in the process, right? And with carbon taxes, all this taxes, you'll understand why I'm calling this. Actually, before I even get into this, just to give you some context, I'm going to stop this for a second. People don't know what treason is. I don't know what I meant by that. That was weird. Criminal, what the fuck is it? There we go. Criminal code. This is for Canada. Justice Law's website. So high treason is everyone commits high treason who in Canada kills or attempts to kill Her Majesty, obviously, or does her any bodily harm, tending to death or destruction, maims or wounds her, or imprisons or restrains her, levies war against Canada, or does any act preparatory thereto. So levies war. So I am arguing that with Canada's involvement with a genocide with Israel and the crimes against humanity that are being committed, and how with what's going on with Ukraine and Russia, we have absolutely escalated that, especially with our involvement with NATO, and how Russia has threatened retaliation against countries that are supporting this fucking money laundering proxy war, covering up biolab shit and like, again, lies. And so the retaliation against Canadians, and Canadians have died as well. And anyway, so that's just with the war stuff. And then even with Afghanistan and with what went on with that, that is absolutely high treason, because they lied about weapons of mass destruction. They lied about what happened with the towers that day and don't even know about Building 7. And if they do, they're lying about that too, which again is high treason, which got us involved into a war. And even people that I know died overseas on behalf of Canada in a fucking war zone. So again, like all of this is high treason, Chrystia Freeland. What you're doing again with like Russia and Ukraine is what I'm talking about in Palestine and Israel. And I'm not even at COVID yet. That's next. So high treason. Now we've got treason. Everyone commits treason who in Canada uses force or violence for the purpose of overthrowing the government of Canada or a province. And so use of force can also be financial. It could also be coercion, like threatening your job, imposing restrictions and measures and stuff like that in place. And by the way, the government, that's not a person. The government, the governing body, that is not a person. That is not the prime minister. That's not what they mean by that. That is not any member of cabinet. It's the governing body within Canada. So we have fucking idiots now. A lot of them, a lot of people I know that are not idiots, a lot of amazing people. In fact, the majority of people working in government right now are trying their fucking best, and they're being lied to by people like Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau. And Justin Trudeau's family has been doing it now for generations, and I've proved it because Pierre Elliott Trudeau who is his father, allegedly, is the one who was the leader of Canada during the moon landing hoax. And that in itself is proof enough, right? Excuse me. Without lawful authority, communicates or makes available to an agent of a state other than Canada. So now we've got China. There's proven interference with Justin Trudeau and Chrystia Freeland and countless other members with involvement with the CCP and all of that stuff. So this is all treason. Military or scientific information or any sketch, plan, model, article, note, or document of a military or scientific character that he knows or ought to know may be used by that state for a purpose prejudicial to the safety or defense of Canada. And by that, it means Canada and the Canadians within. That's where we apply that. Conspires with any person to commit high treason or to do anything mentioned in paragraph A. So I will say fully Chrystia Freeland, Marco Menincino, Bill Blair. These people tried to incite riots. They used crisis actors. They used government plants within our government to try to incite emotional responses and to try to incite a riot, ladies and gentlemen, and then illegally implemented emergency acts. Illegally, even in 2010, Bill Blair committed treason and against his people, and he got recorded videos of this, like illegally arresting people, grabbing them from like people even like just going into their homes, their apartment complexes, or leaving restaurants. Crazy people actually snatching them and taking them to cages in areas, quarters that were not precincts or anything like that, and torturing people and keeping them there for hours at a time, like for no reason, and none of the stuff being properly documented because they didn't want to have a record of this, and setting fire to a police car. Like, again, that was in 2010. So Brian Fox allegedly is the one that was carrying the Nazi flag to incite a riot during that first weekend of the Freedom Convoy. And Marco Menincino refuses to answer if he knows him or not. And so does Bill Blair. And they likely do, you know. And there's more to that as well. So again, this is all treason. And then Marco Menincino and David, was it Ameti? Or Lametti, whatever his friggin' name is, Little Weasel, we're trying to talk about, no, we're not trying to, they were trying to employ tanks on Canadian citizens because of a convoy that they try to incite a riot over. Anyway, this is all treasonous stuff, right? And so this is all information, videos, photos, footage, all of this stuff that I've given to law enforcement, I've given to military, I've given to all cabinet members, media, you name it, legal people, lawyers, multiple lawyers. Yeah. So tell me that what's being done now with all of this stuff and all the cover-ups with the excess of deaths with COVID, all the extreme measures that were implemented where lives were ruined, banks frozen, people again fired dishonorably, like lost pensions, like still in the courts, Helen Gruss still in the courts, over $100,000 in fees, because like she has to fly in her lawyers from Alberta because no one in Ontario in the legal system wants to take on these cases despite having irrefutable evidence. I'll stop my rambling.
Hey, happy day. I got shocking news from a national newspaper. They actually wrote this. This is kind of shocking because most of them tend to be left-wing. Right, left. Here it comes. How to dismantle a nation, stoke entitlement to reduce productivity, borrow and print money to increase inflation, implement taxes, always new taxes of what you...
So what has Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau been doing for the last 8 years? And Chrystia Freeland is the finance minister and deputy prime minister. She knows all of this stuff. So how to destroy the West with the printing of the money, all of this stuff, that literally, this is out of the playbook to destroy the West. So tell me that Chrystia Freeland is not committing high treason and Justin Trudeau and these people, and I'm going to tell you you're fucking nuts.
You got to do to increase the cost of living while reducing the standard of living, dismantle major industries to reduce federal ability to repay debts, disarm the populace, defund the police, defund the military, irresponsible immigration to keep wages low and house prices high, increase bureaucracy to chase away outside investment, increase the public sector to keep unemployment numbers appearing low, and destroy faith in our institutions to avoid accountability. Divide the population into separate interest groups and then pit them against one another like a bunch of little tribes, and that's what they're doing. It's almost like a formula. It's almost like it's out of a cookbook. And people say, add this and take this away, and this is what you get. Wow. And swing over to Arkansas. You got the governor there, Sarah Huckabee. I recently spoke about her with all of this new language stuff. She said, that's enough. No more of this birthing person and we're peoples. And you know what? We're men and we're women. Pretty simple stuff. I get a kick out of Biden and all these guys. They used to say, with regards to COVID, follow the science, the science. Well, we have science here with regards to male and female, but they disregard that because it doesn't fit their agenda, right? And now you have left-wing groups that are saying, hey, it's freedom of speech. You can't do that. You're taking away our right to speak. These are the people that don't care about our rights. And they put all this stuff in all of the books and textbooks and everything else and got rid of the word men, man, woman, and so on. All they do every day before they go to work, if they do work, is practice their pronouns. And now they're saying, hey, Huckabee, you can't do that. You're taking away our right to free speech. Okay, we should take away more than that from you, you bunch of goons. Hey, here we got pricing with regards to Canada and the U.S. Canada and the U.S. are interesting neighbors. One day in Calgary, a few years ago, I went into Costco, and there was a whole bunch of shirts that people had been looking at, and they were thrown everywhere. And the woman who worked there, her job was to put them all back together and fold them up nice and so on. And she was very angry. People are pigs, she said. Okay. And actually, she said, men are pigs. I'm a man. I'm standing there. I've been a man a long time, actually. And I'm standing there with all of, the men's clothes stuff. And we got on a plane. We left. And we flew to Los Angeles, went into a Costco there, same day. Same scenario. Bunch of shirts all.
I like the beginning. Like, I don't know where he's going with this stuff, but
torn up and laying all over. And I talked to the lady who worked at Costco. I said, men are pigs, eh? I thought I'd kind of play on what happened in Canada. She said, who cares? She said, I have a job. I'm ever glad. She was happy because that was her job and she had employment, right? Just a point. Now in Canada, chicken costs, skinless chicken thighs cost $13.65 average for 4 of them. In the US, it's $3.55. Quite a difference, right? Why is that? That's because of supply management and because of dumbness overall. Supply management restricts the number of chickens that you're allowed to have, and it certainly restricts the import of food goods. And they think they're running a good business. It's ridiculous. Go back to Costco, fill up a grocery cart in Canada, and then fill one up half full in the US, and you have the same price at the till. People then start talking about exchange rates and so on. That's not relevant because where you live, a dollar is a dollar. Hey, just sharing with you. Now in Canada, the government there is doing yet another socialist/communist really bad thing. And with regards to their proposed changes to charitable donations, to the tax there. And individuals all file their T1 returns, but in the background, CRA, what is that? That's the tax people. They run this parallel alternative minimum tax return to see whether or not the taxes paid by the taxpayer meet this alternative minimum tax threshold. They got all kinds of words here and so on. But basically they've changed the rules with respect to how they deal with charitable donations now. And the basic idea with this is that taxpayers can no longer use, after 2023, the charitable giving to wipe out their tax bill, like so many do. It's good for charities. Now charities are going to have a real problem, right? Because now what? The government is basically saying, instead of giving your money to the charities, you have to give it to us. That's what they're saying. You have to give it to us directly, and you can't help anymore. You can help, but it's going to cost you money. They're hurting the charitable places. And I guess they're really trying to make the charities dependent on the government. That's what socialist governments do. You need money, we'll give you money. They always want to give, back to that opening stuff there about what they do. They want to dismantle everything that we do. And if I have a suggestion for you ever with regards to...
Yeah, I like this. In just a few years, I improved life for millions of illegal immigrants, criminals, terrorists, corporations, and foreigners. Everyone I could, except for the country I was actually responsible for.
Charitable donations, make them in 2023 if you live in Canada. it's interesting. Several people have written in to Right Edition and said, I heard that you're the guy that invented Rice Krispie squares. And I heard that you did spit sunflowers. I was on a little food kick many years ago, 40 years ago, maybe, for a short while. And I think it's true, but we'll get on to Rice Krispie squares.
I don't want to. Okay, so I liked the beginning part because everything that Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau and people within government were doing for the last few years with like the CERB, with like the monthly allowances for people like to just like stay home and do nothing, people that were actually needed to be in the workforce. We're staying home getting money for it, and then like a massive surge of like immigration. It's not permanent, but it like completely destroyed areas, like shredding millions of trees within the area. And anyway, there's so much stuff. But like what my point to all of this is that you have people within the government right now, like including Justin Trudeau, with strong evidence in support of massive deceit, like high treason, generationally, like even with his father. And I'm talking about with the moon landings and faking all of this stuff about fucking like the Earth being a globe and like us being like a wet rock, like whirling through space, like it's all bullshit. And he must know. Like I'm just I don't know. I'm not buying the fact that he wouldn't know that. And so, this is all stuff that is dangerous to talk about. Yeah, it is what it is, but it's important because like, what the fuck, man? Like, he's our prime minister now, and like his father was a prime minister. Like, we just need to stop this. And then I think this whole 4 generations of his family like not being able to be within government or elected officials or working on behalf of Canada in any way, I think that is something that should be looked at. It's not for punishment. It's for our own safety and within Canada, because they can't be trusted, right? So again, this is not punishment. This is because it's for our own safety. Like, I just got to reiterate that. And I don't know what else to do. So if anyone has any recommendations, I've sent this information to, again, like academics, educational institutions, media, you name it, and flat earth stuff, like fake moon landing stuff. It's still something that they are too, I don't know what it is, too egotistical, too scared, too arrogant to want to look into. And then I ask these same people, okay, well, let me ask you a few basic questions about the globe. And I ask them, they have no fucking idea. How far is the sun? How far is the moon? What's the Van Allen belt? What's the Earth curve calculator? Explain gravity. Explain magnetism. How fast do we spin? What's the distance between this and this? Like all of these things. No idea. I'm like, okay. But I'm crazy. Anyway, so I will stop the rants and I will leave it at that. And I hope that everyone has a wonderful rest of your day.